Okay, welcome back. My team tells me that I ended that broadcast too abruptly and that I should have stayed on and given people a chance to ask questions as I promised. So I kind of jumped the gun and said goodbye. So this is two different videos and welcome back. So what we talked about before, we covered some of the reasons that resolutions fail, which are we're not being in love with your vision and trying to use your willpower to accomplish what you want to get done in your life, not having a clear and specific purpose, are not clear and a clear and specific goal in mind. We talked about how the universe thinks in pictures, and that when we are not able to form a clear picture of what it is that we want, the universe can't cash that check. The universe can't give you a better relationship or more money. If you want a better relationship, tell the universe what that relationship looks like. And if you want more money, tell the universe how much. And, make that and get in love with that. So, Happy New Year from India. Oh, thank you, Vishal. I appreciate that so very much. Happy birthday from India. And thank you, Susie has joined us. So if you have any kind of questions or want me to address any kind of things that are coming up for you in working out your life and creating the life of your dreams, and let me know. Okay, so here's a question. What if the people you live with don't cooperate with your goals and intentions? Oh, that is an excellent question and a upper level question, higher thinking question. So congratulations for your level of awareness. When you are living according to your vision, you are not living according to conditions. So the people that you live with are a condition, just like your age, just like your education, just like your database, your number of contents, or contacts, the conditions of your life, the weather, what type of body you were born in. So when other people in your life are a condition, and so how do we treat conditions? First of all, we understand that our power lies within us and does not ever have to be reliant on another person. Eleanor Roosevelt was the first lady, of course, and she was not an attractive woman. And she was very much abused by the press and by the media, and they made fun of her as the first lady. And she said, "All the water in the world cannot drown me unless it gets inside me." So the people in your life, you build them into your vision. If you have a spouse and a child and parents, or any combination of the people that are in your life, when you're writing your vision for your relationship, you write it exactly the way you want it to be. If you want a deeper relationship with your spouse, then you write that in your vision. And then you spend your time each day putting your focus and your attention on, hi, Singing Bee friend. Oh, my Singing Bee story is one of my favorites. It's really, really awesome. And Pamela is amazing. Thank you, Pamela, for being here. Ask me a question if you want to. So anyway, the people in your life, that no one else, not one other person in the whole entire world has to know this except for you. If you are clear about your vision and you are envisioning the people in your life doing the things and being the way that you want them to be, but at the same time allowing that they get to create in their own reality, then you will start to see them start to fall into place. And if you praise them for behavior that you love and just turn your gaze away from behavior that you don't, and look at the people that you love in love all the time, then you absolutely can't lose. So welcome, Deborah. I love you. Happy New Year. I'm so glad that you're here. So very, very cool. Scott Pierce, I hope that answered your question. Was that helpful? Hello, Vicky Pulley. I'm happy that you're here from Shelbyville. Oh, this is so cool. It's like having a party, and I don't have any meals to make or dishes to do. So cheers. Cheers to my friends. Okay, so while we wait for some other questions, let's talk about Hi, Vicky. Let's talk about what your structure and support looks like. They're sort of the same thing and they're sort of different. At the very minimum, find someone who can be your partner in believing, your mastermind partner, someone who you trust and can share your goals and dreams and ideas with, and who will keep you accountable. Accountability and discipline and sacrifice all kind of work with one another and can often sound like things that we don't want. Sacrifice, and this was definitely true for me when I first started learning about the law of sacrifice, which builds in with it the law of discipline. I was kind of kicking and screaming at this because I've always prided myself on being a free spirit. I do as I please, and I don't really abide by the rules. I carry on as I please, and I don't want to sacrifice, and I feel like I should have what I want and not have to sacrifice anything. So when I understand the definition of it better, it was very, very much helpful to me. And one analogy that really helped was to think of a sacrifice fly in baseball. And while I'm not a huge sports fan, even I understand what a sacrifice fly is when you let someone catch the ball so that you sacrifice the runner that's going to get to first base in order to let someone make it home, because a runner on first base is not as good as a runner that's actually going to score. So the idea of sacrifice is that you give up something lesser for something more. And nothing in this universe ever arrives for free. There's a trade-off on everything. And I didn't like the sound of that either. But when you look at it like this, that you can't have love and joy and peace if you are hanging on to anger and resentment and franticness. So you have to sacrifice some parts of your life in order to gain other parts of life, but the sacrifice is something lesser for something more. And then where discipline comes into there is that, and this was another amazing thing, Abraham Lincoln is such a hero to people of every age, and he came from the most humble beginnings, from very, very poor family, and his mother died when he was a very young man. But while she was alive, she was teaching him, a young boy actually, he was just a little guy, and her last words to them were, love one another. And she had taught him, there's a story that's told about Lincoln during the war, and that he was not a military man, and he was president during wartime, and so he got a lot of flack from the military people and a lot of disrespect. And he had a conversation that needed to be had with one of his generals, and he went to the general's home in order to have this conversation and was made to wait in a tiny little salon. Now, this is the President of the United States waiting for a mere general. And he did. He waited, and when the general did arrive, he walked right past the salon and right to bed. And Abraham Lincoln was asked, does this not bother you that you are treated in this way? And Abraham Lincoln said, if it helps me win my war, I will hold the general's coat. So he had this, he had it right. He had his priorities in order, that the way the general treated him was so far less than the goals that he had for our country and for abolishing slavery and making things happen the way that he had envisioned them for our country. So, all right, Pamela, you typed this question in detailed, and I think that this is very public, so I am very grateful that you are willing to be this vulnerable. So, a detailed question. You're 40, have 4 kids ages 16 to 6, going through a divorce, and grew up as an only child. My parents still ask me to buy them cigarettes because they run out of money each month. Oh, this is good. Even though I keep telling them I cannot keep doing this. How can I put my foot down without feeling guilty and making them angry with me? I am tired of that manipulation. Oh, Pamela, what a wonderful action-packed question that is. And this is Romeo, by the way. Romeo never sees people in person, so he really does exist. So this is the guy. All right. Your age is not I think that you just gave me this for reference, and the number of kids that you have, I guarantee that you are probably wearing yourself out being mom to those kids, just like you are wearing yourself out being daughter to your parents. And the first premise to understand is that you cannot serve from an empty vessel. And I know you, and I know that you are a giver, and that you are just someone that wants to serve and wants to help. Yes, you are. And at 45 or 50 or 55 or 60, at some point down the road, if you continue to give and sacrifice, and see, this is what I thought sacrifice meant. Well, I will give until it hurts to someone else. That's not what sacrifice is about. You will have nothing left to give, so because you cannot serve from an empty vessel. So that's one thing to remember, is that if you don't look out for yourself first, and that a lot of times means saying no. I love you, but no, I don't have the resources to do that. And then secondly, what's going to happen if you tell your parents you won't buy them cigarettes? First of all, the cigarettes aren't good for them. You're killing them. You know, I love you. Here's something to make you die. How much logic is that? I have loved ones who, I was a smoker for many years, and they would buy me anything in the world, but they would never ever buy me cigarettes. So you have that. And then the other thing is, whenever we give in excess to other people, we are actually saying to them, I'm doing this for you because you cannot do it for yourself. How insulting is that? That your parents and everyone in your life have the same power that you do, are connected to source just like you do, have the same resources and the same capabilities and the same potential that you do. So for you to say, I'm going to do this for you because you're not as good as me, I'm better than you, I can get this done for you, here you go. Then, you know, that's another way that you can look at it. Now, what is going to help you really get through this? Guilt. Ask yourself for real and for certain what purpose guilt serves. And let's define for the purposes of this conversation, because guilt is pretty complex. A lot of people have grown up with a set of rules, and okay, all right, I'm going to get right to that. So they grow up with a set of rules and they feel guilty if they're breaking them, even though as an adult they figured out that maybe those rules didn't really make sense anyway, but that guilt is still built in. And then there's another of, everyone needs me, everyone else is supposed to be first, and women especially have this, and I think this is where you are too, Pamela, is that, you know, that it's my job. We define ourselves as mothers, as daughters, as women. We get our identity by the way that we give, and so that is another place that guilt is built in. So it bothers you is that they know you're in a tight spot financially, yet they ask, and they keep asking until you give in. Okay, so yeah, they have your number, you know, and this does not mean that your parents don't love you. You know what? I love you. And if you were going to give me what I asked for, all I had to do was ask for it 5 times, and you're going to give it to me? Well, why wouldn't I? And so kind of switch that around, and wow, so you would like your parents to stop asking, right? Is that... Tell me what it would look like if this was working out perfectly. You know, get those little fingers moving and type your response in there for me, because this is how we dream, and this is how we grow, and this is how we build, and this is a relationship that you want to be different. So if you can paint a picture in your mind of exactly what that relationship looks like, and I've done this. You know, I had a time in my life where I was being the helper for everyone in my family. And, you know, my mother, my brother, my sister, you know, everyone. And my brother that I was helping died at a very young age. I didn't help him at all. My mother wound up a pauper in a state-run nursing home. I didn't help her at all. My sister lost her house and got in a very, very bad situation. I didn't help her. All I did was bankrupt myself, and none of them were helped at all. And my nephew, who was born when I was 12 and is just like my own son, I worried about him constantly. Well, so I made the switch, and I said, you know what? I'm going to focus on my dreams, and I'm going to trust that God and these powerful divine beings are going to work out how their lives are supposed to be. And I'm just going to picture them in bliss and health and happiness. And you know what? His life got better. His life, when I stopped worrying about him, he started to get his act together and find things that made him happy and lift himself up. And, you know, I'm being out in a very public way. I don't mean to make other people out in a public way. So we'll move on from that. So, we're not always helping. When we think that we're helping, we aren't. A lot of times we're enabling behavior that will only keep them stuck in where they are. So they would buy their own cigarettes and not ask me. They would budget their money and stop with all the check advances, cash loans, etc. Okay, so let's redefine what Pamela wrote and put that into an appropriate vision. In my vision, my parents are independent. My parents have all of the resources that they need, and they have tapped into all of the resources that they need to make them happy. They are responsible for themselves and for meeting their own needs, and they love me, but only to enjoy me. We just enjoy each other. We don't depend on each other for our happiness. We don't depend on each other for monetary things, for our daily needs being met. We just love each other, and we're each independent. And, you know, hold that vision up for yourself, and then see how you feel the next time you get that call that says, Pam, you know, I'm all out of money. I don't get paid for 2 more weeks. Can you help me out? And you say, you know what? I love you, and you are resourced. I know that everything that you need is going to come to you. You just tap into your power, and then you, and then you say, "Mwah! I'm going to go off and tap into my own power." Yay! I'm glad that you liked that. Does that help? Is there something else I can say that will make it clearer, Pamela? And everyone else, feel free to ask a question. I'm so loving this. This is what I live for. I could do this all night. And you know what, Pamela, I would love to offer you a free strategy session if you would like. Just personal message me, and we will. I'll email you back and let you know how a strategy session works. But basically, it's we shine a light on what your life looks like now, on in all the parts, your relationships, your yes, positive instead of negative every time. And the thing is. I love you too, Desiree. Mwah. And I want to offer you a free strategy session too. The thing is that we get to choose every minute, every thought, every single moment of our day. We get to make a new choice of how we're going to think and how we're going to feel. And this is the power that we all need to acknowledge, that every event is neutral until you assign a value to it. There was a story of, you know, poor California with all their fires. We had a lot in Tennessee this year too. But they had, one of these terrible fires, there was news coverage, and they went to one couple's house that their house had been completely destroyed, and the couple was out there and they were holding hands and they were watching the last embers of their home burn away. And the news people asked them, they said, "Oh God, we're so grateful. We're so grateful. All of our animals got out and we got out safely. And oh, it could have just been the worst day of our lives, but we're awesome. Everybody's safe and everybody's okay, and it's incredible." And then they went down the street. Identical circumstances, almost exactly the same house, the same value, the same everything. And this couple was in despair. We lost everything. Everything that meant anything to us was in that house. So the same event, but different perspectives. So, and we get to make that choice every single time. So, all right. I love you too, Desiree Pulley. And Christopher Scott here says, these are my family members who I love, and they're supporting me in such a great way. And my meditation training with David G was one of the high points, actually, wow, maybe the high point of my life so far. I spent 10 days, half a year in training with an intimate group of teachers and intimate contact with our teacher, David G., who is the most magnificent meditation teacher ever. He taught us about making meditation appear in a way that the people who live in the 21st century can actually absorb it and appreciate it. You know, a lot of times you say meditation and people go, oh, woo woo, and they get turned off and they're no longer interested. So I don't get a chance to help them. But when we put it in a different way, frame it as de-stressifying, frame it as life skills. Oh, and Alexa, mwah, my darling, she's one of my fellow meditation teachers who, you know, the how many days was it? 7 days, 6 days that I spent with them that just forged friendships and love that will last me the rest of my life. And I'm watching this girl grow. I love her. I love you, Alexa. So soldiers and military people and cops, firefighters, people who are putting their lives on the line and putting themselves in true life or death situations every day need the life skills to help to cancel out the effects of those stressful situations and that acute stress. But we also have this daily stress response in our daily lives for all of us, and it's what's making us sick. It's giving us cancer. It's giving us heart disease. It's damaging our physical health in every way, because everything in this universe, including our health, started first as a thought. And toxic thoughts will show up as problems in your body and the physical manifestations that are trying to send you signals about things that they would like you to do differently. So we spent 6 months, 4 months, 6 months, a long time, and lots of material and lots of study, and then this intensive training with David G. out in Carlsbad, California, which culminated in being certified as Masters of Wisdom and Meditation teachers. So there's David G. on Facebook. I think that you can click on these links and get to the people that, and Scott's helping me. My certifications, that's a very, very cool thing. We talk about a system of structure and support. My system of structure and support consists of 4 hours of coaching every week with my life coaches, my business coaches, my marketing coaches, and my business marketing. Oh, and coaching coach. I have a coach who teaches me how to be a good coach. So whenever, you know, clients bring questions to me that I can't answer, I have a master coach in Kirsten at the Life Mastery Institute that teaches me how to help my clients better. The same with Mary Morrissey. Mary Morrissey at the Life Mastery Institute is the founder of the company that provided my certifications as a dream builder coach and as a life mastery consultant. So bye, Pamela. Thank you for coming. Yeah, personal message me. Mwah. I look forward to hearing from you. Happy New Year. Have a great fun party. So I'm a member of Toastmasters, which is a group where you learn to be a better speaker. And we give speeches in this class, and we get critiqued every time on whether we say and so and okay and filler words. And one of my issues is that I talk way too fast, and I never ever pause in between sentences. And I blame Ray Rich, one of my bosses when I worked in radio, in teaching me that dead air is the enemy when you're on the radio. And so you don't get, we would even spend time going through and editing our commercials to take out the breath so that there was absolutely no dead air in a commercial. So I am retraining my brain to understand that most people are okay with pauses in between sentences. In fact, they actually need them in order to absorb the message that I'm trying to deliver. So, all right. So Scott has sent us to Mary Morrissey, and also I want to give a shout out to Matt Boggs is my marketing coach and also a life coach, and when I'm ready, he will be my relationship coach. But he's amazing. He does a lot of things on YouTube, and his specialty is in women and in helping women to attract and develop and grow the relationship that they would love, which is one of the areas that I coach in, but he is a specialist in the relationship area. So, all right, so does anybody else have any other questions? I'm very, very grateful for all of you that showed up and said hello. And my singing bee experience was an absolutely fabulous one. If you don't know what the Singing Bee is, it's a reality TV show that is on CMT. I don't have TV anymore, so I'm not sure if it's still on, but it's a karaoke game show. And I decided I wanted to be on that, and I just kept picturing myself being up there and winning that. I was at a point in my life where I really needed the $10,000 prize, which I didn't win, but that's another story. But I got to go to Burbank, California and be on national television and compete in the show and made great friends like Pamela, who I get to keep for the rest of my life. So, all right, Desiree would like to find balance. And Michaela, I love you too. Happy birthday, you beautiful, beautiful girl. 10 days ago, 15 days ago, however many days ago it was. I'm so sorry that I missed it. I hope to see y'all soon. Balance. Balance is actually kind of a misnomer. If you will stand perfectly still, hands at your heart, and get as comfortable and as grounded as you can in your feet, and put your feet as close together or as far apart as they need to be for you to not spread eagle, but maybe hips width or smaller. And then notice that your body is always swaying in one direction or another, and it's always correcting itself. So, yay. And so the idea of balance is kind of an ideal that's not reachable. What you can do, however, is learn to be tuned in to what you're paying attention to, so that you're able to direct yourself back into the stream of attention that you want in a shorter amount of time. So, for instance, we can have a thought that frightens us, and if we don't immediately turn our attention away, that frightening thought will attract more frightening thoughts and more frightening thoughts and more frightening thoughts. And we live in a spiral universe, so that's going to take you spinning away into a direction that you don't want to go, and you're out of balance, and you're stressed out, and you really can't even look back and see why. So if you are able to really pay attention to what you're paying attention to, you can notice in the moment when you're giving credence to something that doesn't really deserve it, or you are overreacting, or you are auto-reacting instead of responding. So if you can get in the habit, and these patterns that we have in our lives are not reprogrammed overnight. It takes diligence. That's where the structure and the support comes in, because it takes daily activity and daily paying attention to what you're paying attention to, and daily dedication to deciding that you're going to be the master of your thoughts, and you're going to make conscious decisions about what you think and how you feel and who you interact with and what those interactions are going to look like. So here you are, and something comes, you're in the perfect place of balance, that you feel balanced and you like it, and something comes along that is going to distract you or dissuade you or take you off of your course. The sooner you can recognize that and go, oh, okay, I see what you are. You're not really in service of my vision and my dream, and I'm going to turn my attention back this way. And there are ways and means of dealing with doubts and fears. For instance, my mentor, Mary Morrissey, it's what she says is you make a date with your doubts and your fears. If something comes along that wants to throw you off course, your course of following your bliss, you say, you know what, I see you. I see you fear. I see you doubt. And I acknowledge your place in the world. But you don't get to tell me how I'm going to live my life right now. I'll get back with you Friday at 5, and we'll have 15 minutes together to talk about this. And then when Friday at 5 comes along, you open your heart and your mind to your fears and your doubts, and you say, okay, fears and doubts, what have you got to tell me? What have you got to say to me? And you write it down, and you identify it, and you say, All right, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And when you put it in this light, suddenly things don't really seem that fearful. Well, what if I can't pay my bills at the end of the month? What if I can? And they're really, even if you look at the very worst thing that could happen and shine a bright light on it, you're like, my children are safe. It's really not, most of our fears, for one, are not going to happen. And for two, are not nowhere near as bad as our brain wants to tell us that they are. So the idea about balance is just understanding that you're just making little adjustments all the time. All these little adjustments that keep you on your path. And a meditation practice, David G teaches us the, what does he call it? The 16-second meditation. And if you find something that is troubling you, and you just stop and breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold it for 4 seconds. And that whole time, all you're doing is watching your breath. Watching it in, watching it stay, watching it out, watching it stay. When 16 seconds have passed, I challenge you to go back and remember what it was that was bugging you. It gives you a grounding moment. It doesn't even take a minute where you can choose another thought and be the master of what you're going to think next. So I hope that helps in finding balance. Oh, it seems like there was something else that popped in there about balance. Oh yeah, a regular meditation practice makes you better at this. If you will take 30 minutes at the beginning of the day and just be still and be silent, then you will find that no magic is going to happen in that 30 minutes, but you're going to see that's what it was. In your meditation, whether you're focusing on your breath or you're focusing on a mantra or whatever it is that you're focusing on, your thoughts are going to pop back in. You're going to be saying your mantra and watching your breath and meditating very peacefully, and your grocery list is going to start floating through your head. And you just say, oh, I see your grocery list. We'll see you later. And you just gently shift your attention back to your mantra or back to your breath or back to whatever it was that you were focusing on. And in that way, you start to train yourself to be able to say, oh, okay, not now. I'm doing this. Oh, not now. I'm doing this. And to stay on your path in that way. Awesome, Desiree. I'm so happy that you're here and I love you. I wish you were physically in my living room. Yep, there. Oh, yes. Awesome. Link to the David G 16-second meditation. Yeah, he is completely amazing. All right, so does anyone else have a question? I'm going to take a second and breathe and take a sip of wine. Oh, Desiree, there's another meditation that I want to teach you really, really quickly. It only takes 2 seconds. It's called infinity breathing. And it's kind of my favorite. As a rule, in meditation, you breathe through your nose, in and out through your nose. And a lot of times you want to hear your breath. You want to kind of make a sound in the back of your throat with your breath. We call this ocean breathing. That is, so imagine that you were fogging up a mirror, like, and then you do that same thing with your nose. That's one way. So you're kind of making a noise, and the noise that your breath makes is completely unique to you. No other sound in the world is exactly the sound of your breath. Isn't that cool? But in infinity breathing, you want to try to make your breath as silent as you can. And if you can picture an infinity sign, it's like a sideways figure 8. So it has no beginning and it has no end. And so picture the infinity sign in your mind and make your breath into an infinite loop, so that there's no stop between your inhale and your exhale. And all you're doing is trying to make one continuous looping breath that is flowing in and out of you and making absolutely no sound. So in order to make no sound, you have to breathe very, very slowly. And this is the absolute number one technique for calming anxiety, for staving off an anxiety attack, for any kind of moment that you want to reground yourself and get back in the present moment and get back in charge of what's going on with you. So, okay. Any other questions? Anybody? I can't tell who's here. All I can see are the comments, so I can't really see who is actually in. I see little hearts popping up, and I love you too, but I don't know who you are, floating across the screen. So pop into the comments and say hello. Say hello to me. You know, having Desiree on here is it brings up one of my passions is food, and Desiree's passion is food also. But we see food in a different way, in that she's vegan, and she has found this path to be amazing for her, and she's getting awesome at it. Desiree, plug in your YouTube channel or something so we can connect and look at the beautiful pictures and videos and things that you do. She has just made an art of making beautiful vegan dishes, and I am actually at a physical kind of transitionary period in my life where I don't know that I will ever go as far as vegan, but I'm actually leaning more towards a vegetarian lifestyle and readjusting and readapting and getting to know my own body in its current state today. So, all right, Scott, how long should I give my team, my media advisor, how long should I give people to ask questions before I wrap it up? And I think this Desiree making hearts flash all over my screen. Before I wrap it up and say goodnight and say Happy New Year. So I'm going to say that's good. Yeah, I'm actually going to say that we're almost out of time. There's that Facebook will only last 90 minutes. So awesome! I much love you guys, and I am so Kathy. Welcome. I hope you'll watch the replay. We're just getting ready to say goodbye, unless Facebook will allow me to stay a little bit longer if you had a specific question. So ask me quick, or we're going to have to say goodnight and Happy New Year and pick up at another time. Yeah? Okay. Much love. Thank you again. I'm very happy to have gotten to spend this time with you, and hope it was helpful. I hope I was of service, and I look forward to being in touch with you in the new year. Happy 2017.